relatives, and you all worry about them. What are they going to do with their lives? Well, there was my mum and dad. What are you going to do with your life? I said, Mum, I want to be a hairdresser. I went, huh? Bloody guy's an idiot. So I went to this little salon in North London. It was actually Harrow. You probably don't know where Harrow is, but Harrow is a suburb of North London. And I went into a little salon, and I decided to enroll in the vocational school. You know how here in America you learn how to do hair? Well, I enrolled in this vocational school to do City and Guilds, which is basically what we do when you learn a trade. And I'm in this salon getting my hair cut by this man called Howard. I never forget him. I'm 62 now, so this was probably 40 years ago. And this guy Howard was cutting my hair. I had beautiful long hair, and I blow dried it straight. And this Australian bloke called John Digger Matthews. Digger because the Australians would dig during the war. They would dig the sites for the British soldiers. He said, "Mate, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to vocational hair school." He said, "Stroth, mate. Have you ever heard of Vidal Sassoon?" I'm like, who? Vidal Sassoon, mate. That's where you go and learn hairdressing. Well, I knew a young lady at the time. She was kind of a girlfriend, but I've got to be careful because my wife's sitting here today. Her name was Hazel Dommett. She was from Cardiff, Wales. She wasn't as nice as my wife. I had to say that. And I said to her, this Australian bloke says to me, "Go to Vidal Sassoon." She goes, "I know the manager of Vidal Sassoon. He comes and brings the money in to the bank." She worked at Barclays Bank. Barclays Bank, big English bank. So she arranged for me to come to meet Norman. I get the tube, the Jubilee line, I think it was the Bakerloo line at the time. I go up to London, and I turn up at Vidal Sassoon school, and Norman is waiting there for me. He must have liked Hazel because he was very nice to me. I walk into the Vidal Sassoon school, and I look at this school, and I go, oh my God, the energy. There were people there from Japan, from America, from France, from all over the world, learning how to be a hair cutter, a hairdresser. The great thing about Vidal Sassoon also, before I forget, is that we specialize. We do not, a Sassoon hairdresser becomes a cutter or a technician. So if somebody cuts your hair, they're your stylist. If somebody colors your hair, they're your colorist. So of course, when I was walking in the school, I saw all this specialty and everything. And I wanted to mention that because I don't want to forget that. So I came out of there and I said, I'm in love with this place. I want to be one of those people. Maybe an English version of that person, not a Japanese person, but an English person, because I'm English. So I enrolled for the 9-month course, and I did the diploma course in 1976. My parents paid, it cost them about 6,000 quid. Quid is pounds. Got to understand, back in those days, most people who were hairdressers weren't, unless you're a bit different, you weren't a hairdresser. But I'm not different. I mean, I'm your typical jock. I am. And I enrolled, and I did the 9-month course. At the end of the 9 months, very, very few people applied for the company. It was a bit like trying to go to Harvard and knock on the Harvard door and say, I want to be a student here. You? What's your degree? I don't have one. Well, bye. I didn't. I knocked on the door and I said, her name was Caroline Hayes. People were petrified of her. She had this blonde hair, she was pretty, and she had a presence about her. This was 1977. And I said, I want to work for Vidal Sassoon. No, she said, why do you want to work for Vidal Sassoon? I said, because I love him. they hired me. So, no one else got a job with them, but I did. Well, cut a long story short, I worked for them for 3 years. I became a stylist in one of their salons. But you know, I was 21 years old and I was a little bit of a punk. I love to do funky haircuts. All those haircuts, when you go in a salon, you see them up on the walls, you think, I can't wear that. Those are the haircuts I gave. Because I was a punk. So they thought, well, we better take this guy back out of the salon. And they put me back in the school, and I taught. And I think actually Sharon's done a job of putting all the pictures up. There's some pictures of me cutting hair back in the 70s. So where was I? 1977. Thank you, 1977. So they put me back in the school, but I got very, very restless. So I decided to travel again. Picked up my bags, and my father goes, what are you doing now? I took a pin, I found an atlas in my house, and I went, boom. Guess where that pin ended up in?
America.
Pardon?
America.
Jakarta, Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
So I turned up in Jakarta, Indonesia, and let me tell you, I spent one night there. I got bitten by cockroaches. I said, time to move on. So I then took the ferry to Bali, and I lived in Bali for 6 months. Funny enough, in that 6 months, I never, ever cut anyone's hair. I think I started running and getting fit and living the whole fit life. And then I had a friend I met when I was in that 3 years in England, in Australia. So I ended up going to Australia. And I ended up getting a job in Australia working for an American company called Pivot Point. Pivot Point is an American hair company. Good company, not Vidal Sassoon. They sent me I went to all over the Far East, teaching for them in Hong Kong, Singapore, Jakarta, Thailand, Taipei, teaching their system. And they also sent me to America, and I did 19 states here back in the early 80s with a guy called Zenon. But all those years I was with this company, my heart was... It's a bit like being in a marriage and you don't want to be in the marriage. I haven't got that. Thank you. I'm in a great marriage. So in 1984, I went back to London. And I was walking down Brook Street in London, just done a course at Vidal Sassoon School, and a gentleman called Philip Rogers came out of the door. Vidal Sassoon had a team. The great thing about Vidal was, in any good company, you develop your staff. And the great thing about Vidal was, he developed his staff. He had international artistic directors. He had head colorists. He had general managers. He had head assistants, head receptionists, head PR, you name it. He had all these roles. And this Philip Rogers was basically the second in command. He took a look at me and he said to me, I actually looked at him and I said, I want you to bring Vidal Sassoon to Australia, because I love Australia and I love Vidal Sassoon. He said, we are not, you know, they had the whole product line in Australia, but I don't want to talk about the product so much now. I want to talk about the brand, which is the hair. He said, the only way you're going to be a Sassoon hairdresser again is to come back to me here, and then I will send you to America. I said, okay. Now, I had a car and a condo in Australia, sitting there waiting for me. I didn't go back. I had to sell it. We sold it years later. I rejoined the company, and I became a teacher back at Vidal Sassoon in London, and I loved it. I became Teacher of the Year. I should have brought my little cup with me. I had this little cup at home. It's about that big, and it says Teacher of the Year, Vidal Sassoon Teacher of the Year in 1985. And I hope I'm not boring you. Good. I should be talking more about other things, but no, it's okay. And I went to Manchester and everywhere, and he finally sent me to America in 1986. I came to the United States in 1986. I got my Social Security card in New York. I went to Chicago. I wanted to go to Santa Monica because I was a teacher. I loved teaching hair. I went to Santa Monica. I didn't go to Santa Monica. I ended up in Chicago via New York, worked in the salon there, and decided, you know, even though my parents looked at me at 21 and said, Rob, you got to do something, I did. I decided to go for management. And I became assistant manager of the Chicago salon, and we opened a brand new salon in Boston, Massachusetts. And in 1989, I went to Boston and opened the salon there. And we were there for 10 years. And after 10 years, we had our son, Adrian, when we were in Boston, my wife and I, and we decided it was time to come closer to family, which was here in the metropolitan Washington, D.C. area. So we moved here to this salon in 1999, and I've been here ever since. So that's pretty much how I came into this company. So, let's see if I missed any points before I move on to the slideshow. Oh, I think how was that so far?
Great.
Thank you. So I think now what we'll do is Sharon's done a great, what Sharon's done